What's good, YouTube? OCT in this bitch, and I'm about to do a response to Brother Reef. The Cool Tunes Network. Check the brother out. Now, he made a video entitled Robinson Defeated Himself. And the video he made was in response to a video that I put up entitled Sugar Ray Robinson Got His Ass Whooped. Oh, man. But I'm going to touch some of these points that you made, man, and I will attempt to counter them, to the best of my ability off the fly like this, man. I'm just getting in and feeling pretty good, so I thought to drop it, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave you hanging out there too long, Brother Reef. All right, now, you said you agree with me that Mayweather has never looked that bad. And that's kind of big for my side of the argument, man, considering that those were my intentions to the unbiased fan. Instead of hearing an opinion or the folklore, through hearsay, you can actually lay eyes on that moment in time and see what greatness is. Just looking at this loss, it wasn't him losing, because great boxers lose. It wasn't that. It was the fact of how he lost. And I don't think it's fair to bring up Ray's lack of training when that's what he should have been doing if he's truly a great in the sport of boxing. Now, you said Floyd's superior conditioning and his mindset gets Floyd through his fights. What do you say? The remarkable care that he takes of his body. Exactly, because he's mastered the task at hand. And that's a part of greatness that we don't recognize or we don't care to pay attention to because of the media stimulus that it has on the population about what Floyd is. But if you get past that, as soon as the bell rings, you can actually see a technical masterpiece that we have never seen in the history of the sport of boxing. It's not just the man who's in front of him, but it's the technique and style that he has mastered that makes it such a beautiful win. You got a lot of guys complaining about, oh, Floyd don't knock nobody out at 154. Well, if he's like a real natural guy, like walking around 143, or can drop down and fight to 140 or 147, 147 is his natural weight. Now, if Floyd was fighting the rest of these fights at 147 and he ain't knocked nobody out, I'd be complaining too at 147. At 154, Floyd's punches deflect off his opponent's head. They deflect. Doesn't really rock the guy because they're so big in comparison to him with his frame. Usually outweighed in most of his fights. I mean, those are things that we need to consider if we're considering greatness. Now, I wouldn't even be making these type of videos about Ray Robinson, about Ali, about Sugar Ray Leonard. I wouldn't be making these videos in comparison if guys were appreciating Floyd for what he was. Why can't you say, God damn, that Floyd is the best we've seen in 25 years, the best. You don't even have to take it all the way back to Ali's time. You could just say from Ali's era, or it might be Tyson for you. It might be Roy Jones Jr. Give him that cushion. Let him enjoy his era. Let us all enjoy what we're seeing right now. He only got 4 fights left. Okay, so when I put these videos up and I compared them and let you do the comparison just by watching, it's just something I pointed out. When I let y'all do the comparison, y'all can technically see who was the best. And that's the greatest ever, because we're talking about boxing, so we're talking about the skills inside the ring. Boxing is not just offense. Now, y'all know Ray's defense wasn't all that great in comparison to Floyd's. And you have to put that in the equation when you're measuring skill. You also have to look at guys like Ali that didn't care to throw that many body punches. With that style that he used, his jab and his footwork was enough to get the job done. But when you're talking about defensive, he's not doing the shoulder roll. He's doing the rope-a-dope. Now, is the rope-a-dope a product of skill, or was Ali losing his physical attributes and used the ropes as a crutch? You have to look at those things when you're measuring greatness. So when I hear guys bash Floyd and put a lot of bums who were lesser technically sound fighters in front of him, it's kind of baffling to me. It's like you guys ignore what you're seeing for folklore. So when I dig it up, some of y'all get mad. Try not to get mad, man. I'm just doing it for clarity because I grew up off that same folklore. He was the best. After him, it was Ali. After him, for me, it was Sugar Ray Leonard. You see, so I myself am trying to even get out of that by digging into these tapes and even fights Ray Robinson won. You can see his defense wasn't up to par in comparison to Floyd Mayweather's. So I'm not saying put Floyd on a number one on your list, and I'm not saying that he's better than Sugar Ray Robinson. But as a total boxer, does he have the endurance that Ray had? No. Does he have a flash that Ray had offensively? Well, he glimpsed on it back in the day, but overall, the Floyd we're looking at now, no. Did he have the footwork of Ali? No. Did he have the versatility of Roy Jones Jr.? No. But he has a little bit of everything, and all those little bits he's mastered one by one. He's a complete fighter. Let me dig into some of these points, Reef, man. I know I kind of drifted for the people, man, but let me get back to this directly, man. You said Robinson never liked the box, and he didn't want to be a fighter. And, you know, we seen videos of documentaries where, you know, Ray himself said he fought for money, and people around Ray in his immediate circle said Ray fought for money. So if you're giving me your reasons why this boxer is the greatest to ever lace him up, the greatest pound for pound ever, then we're praising a guy that didn't really give a fuck about the sport that much. He just wanted a check. He just wanted a check, which I've heard Floyd get criticized for too. But in this case, Floyd brought it on himself with that media persona, especially through HBO. He's toned it down quite a bit. But to make people think that he was all about the money, in which at the end of the day, they are prize fighters and supposed to get paid. But when you have historical evidence that this guy didn't give a fuck about boxing, I can't say he didn't give a fuck, but he cared more about the money than the sport, we have to be careful who we glorify in that instance. The reason guys like Bernard Hopkins and Floyd Mayweather take care of their bodies because they love the sport and they know they have to be a certain level, have to have that level or maintain that level or exceed that level to continue in the sport. Not only do they make themselves look good as champions, they make the sport look good as elite champions, top of the line champions. So it's kind of difficult to hear a lot of guys discredit Floyd and dig up old bones to do it. I could see a guy that's living, breathing in his division right now. Guys even reaching the other divisions right now. And, I mean, that's not too far-fetched considering what greats have done in the past, like Sugar Ray Robinson. So it's okay to want these fights as a fan. Fanatics. It's okay. It's okay to want these fights. But let's look at the greatness and observe it. Why bash one man to big up another man? The other man who's not here isn't even here to appreciate these videos, isn't even here to just hear his defense. But one guy that it might get to Floyd's radar, you want to bash him. You know, and it's funny that most of the people that do in the YTBC happen to be African American. And it gets you to say, wow, African Americans don't even support their own fighters. So it's kind of funny when you see a promoter like Bob Arum saying he has difficulty selling black fighters. It's because we're too busy criticizing what we see in our face. Let's get out there. Let's buy these tickets. Let's support these athletes. Save the public criticism for behind the scenes, for sake not only for that athlete in his career and the pressure that's on him from the media. You want to add more pressure when it's best to lay off and support him. And, I don't have to have that speech with my Mexican brothers. I don't have to have that speech with Puerto Rican brothers, Cuban brothers. I don't have to have that speech with different nationalities because they already know. Italians, they know. Our man's fighting and we're there for him. Think about Ricky Hatton coming over to Las Vegas. Only one Ricky Hatton. How the fuck do I know that song? Because they supported their guy. And while we busy digging up old bones to discredit the one in the greatness we see, even seeing the video that anyone posts in comparison to Floyd today and discrediting the footage. How can you discredit some CSI shit? I'm doing the CSI scientific shit for you. All you have to do is pay attention to the evidence. And when you look at that evidence, the worst fight we've seen in Floyd has to be between Chop Chop Corley or Emmanuel Augustus. And even when you put Floyd's worst fights next to Tiger Jones and Sugar Ray Robinson, the worst fights, Floyd still did better technically in the ring than Ray did. So if Floyd isn't the greatest of all times, at least his name is worth mentioning in the same sentence as Sugar Ray Robinson. And I think that's what needs to be acknowledged from the YTBC. I mean, the same thing goes with the focus, Reef. You said he had lack of focus. That'll be, I think, congruent with the training. And, the mental state he was in, what he was doing with his body. Was he running around with women or abusing alcohol or some type of other drugs? Or was he actually training? Some of that comes from just the love. And if you're saying Sugar Ray was so great, you could see at that point he didn't love boxing as much as he did previously. So he didn't put his best foot forward that night. And I'm just putting that as a comparison to Floyd's bar of excellence. I'm pretty sure Floyd seen this fight and paid attention to it a long time ago, probably as a child. Seen all the greats lose through history, being a young historian himself, learning the sport and going to the gym every day. And seeing these mistakes that all the greats made, he corrected them. When you look at Floyd, you're looking at the evolution of boxing. That's all it is. That's the only thing that makes him greater, because same thing goes with Muhammad Ali. He did that with Ray Robinson. He studied Ray and became Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all times, from studying the greatest ever or the greatest of all time previously. If you look at it like kings with their throne, you don't bitch about which king was better than the other king. You appreciate the kingdom that the king is ruling now. You appreciate that kingdom. You don't bitch, oh man, with Alexander the Fourth, man, when he was around, it was banging, man. I hate Alexander the 12th. You don't really do that. It's just passing the torch. This is the guy that got the torch. And if we were at the Olympics, we'll all be booing him right now because he's not holding the torch high enough. Or his elbow is tilted too much when he's carrying his torch. Or he's running too slow, or he's running too fast. Let's support our man. That doesn't mean foolish pride. Am I a dick rider? No, fuck Floyd. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm saying I don't know him personally. I don't. None of us do. So it's nothing personal. I do have my bias. I am from the Midwest. I have been watching Floyd for over 15 years. So I do have my personal bias, but I can't put that into the argument. I can't put that inside a debate. That's not going to credit me to win my side. And I'm really not trying to win. I just want y'all to look at the other side of things, so maybe you can consider a different approach when you're giving this to really casual fans. Casual fans. I mean, when you do your video, to some extent you're preaching to the choir because you have your regulars and people that are familiar with your delivery and your information and your style, and they kind of know what you know at that point, and they're going along for the ride. But it's some casual people that see y'all videos first. And if you happen to be on some bullshit for whatever reason it is, purposely or inadvertently, you influence these fans with your words. So you have to, I think, as a man, be mindful of your delivery. You know, it's like a shepherd and sheep. Not saying we're sheeple on here, but damn, it's the same concept. So, you know, it's like the guys, you know, that go for Sugar Ray and other greats. It's like they're comparing the folklore to technical excellence, you know? So when I go get this footage to make the folklore stand up, you know what I mean, and be seen, I want to bring the folklore to the forefront with actual fact. And then when you compare that to the technical expertise of today, it doesn't match up. But you say one is great and then one is all right. He all right. You can't really do that, man, when it's boxing. There's guys that go in there that are fighters and go in there and swing for the fences, and they try, like Paul Williams. You see what I mean? I see some people say, oh, man, Paul Williams would have beat Floyd. Think about it, man. Think about it. Paul Williams was a fighter. He going to go in there swinging, trying to trade punch for punch, and he would have got knocked the fuck out, similar to what happened from Sergio Martinez anyway. If he wouldn't have got knocked out, man, he wasn't accurate enough. He had the stature. He had the Tommy Hearns stature, but he wasn't accurate enough to beat a Floyd Mayweather. And what is he, number 3? I mean, damn, make it the number 2 if you want to fight the best. He didn't make it, y'all. He didn't make it. You talk about the black fighters. Come on, y'all. You talk about the black fighters, and Floyd ain't fought none. When Floyd offered a silver platter, an Al Heyman fighter, black fighter, twice. So he offered this platter to Berto. Not only did he offer the platter, he went, like y'all said, he don't call people out and show up. He went to the fight. You could see him with 50 Cent to watch the Berto-Ortiz fight. And if Berto beat Ortiz that night, Berto would have fought Mayweather next. That was the plan. Berto didn't make it. Berto had another opportunity with Robert Guerrero. What happened with that? He didn't make it. So a black fighter was in a position to fight Floyd, and the black fighter blew it. Now, is that Floyd's fault? No, because the people that beat him, Floyd beat both of them. I mean, come on. Let's think about it. What about Austin Trout? If he would have beat Canelo, we would have seen Floyd Mayweather with Austin Trout. These black fighters have had opportunities. Black fighters that were in a better position than a Keith Thurman. And they blew it. That's too off the dome. I would love to see Bradley with Mayweather. If they can get that business ironed out with Top Rank and Golden Boy, hey, let's get it. I would love to see that. But I don't think we should crucify him in comparison when I just showed y'all a black fighter fighting Ray Robinson that he never beat. He didn't come back and beat him again. I thought he only fought him one time, but somebody else said he might have fought Tiger Jones again and lost again, so I had to dig on that one. But other than that, man, let's give credit where credit is due. Man, because like the last 7 years, man, my top 3 pound for pound been Sugar Ray Robinson, Ali, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. in that order, okay? With Sugar Ray being first for his remarkable record, you know, Ali being second for the level of opposition he faced, and Floyd for being the most skilled. Now, that's out of everybody. That's my top 3 out of everybody. Floyd for being the most skilled. So when I get to a point where I want to compare my top 3 against each other pound for pound, okay, when I want to do that, I have to see why I have them on my list. And the first is, you know, Sugar Ray, for having the record. And not only the record, the endurance to fight all of those fights. You know, so stamina, endurance, and the record for Sugar Ray. The resume of Ali, no one's fought tougher competition than Muhammad Ali, so he has the best solid resume. And then skills. Now, all 3 of those go hand in hand. But if I'm talking about inside the ring, boxing, skills will outweigh the resume because I'm not looking at who he fought. I'm looking at the skills to get the job done he uses. Not just the heavy bag in front of him. Because at the end of the day, if you're great, you're going to make anybody look like a heavy bag. You might not knock them out, but you're going to see what greatness is. You see what I mean? It's sometimes Ali been magnificent. Sometimes Ali's been not too good, and he gets the job done. Whatever the case, I've never seen Floyd on his worst night look like Ray or Ali's worst night when I'm comparing my three. But that's my three, so I do respect those guys. You see what I mean? So I would have to put skills on the table. Skills trumps the resume factor with the folklore. Skills trumps all those hundreds of fights that are not possible in this day and time. I mean, I can't crucify Floyd because they don't fight 15 rounds anymore. I can't crucify Floyd because the rules have changed and they don't fight every 2 weeks, every few days, and it's not as frequent. I can't balance on a list based on the way errors have evolved and boxing has evolved and it's changed. The sport is different than it was back then. So I have to take that variable out to make it fair. And when I judge what's left, which is skills, and I'm looking at all three of these men, my list change. So if I'm going for the greatest, I'm thinking skills in my assessment. Most of you guys just ran it, oh man, he the greatest, or he the best, or he, come on, let's narrow it down to what it really is, man. So if I go with skills, I have to compare the three, and Floyd Mayweather, even Layla Ali said it for her daddy, so, I mean, that should ice that right there. Come on, her daddy. She grew up with a daddy she loved. Technically, Floyd is a better boxer. That don't mean he the greatest. He didn't do all the wonderful things that Ali did. No, he didn't. But in this era, I would have to change my list. So, Floyd, number one, technically. Second, oh, man. Second, I would have to go skills. I had to go with Cassius Clay. Not Muhammad Ali. I'm just talking about prime Cassius because he took what Sugar Ray Robinson did to the next level of boxing, and that's what made him the greatest in his era. So I would technically, skill set wise, this is my top three. No turning back. Floyd Mayweather, the best technically. Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson third of all times. Skill set. Now, if you want to have an opponent discussion, who fought the best opponents, that's great. If you want to have a discussion about who had the most grueling schedule, that's great. But when you're talking about skill set, you can't extract skill set from the sport itself. I mean, that's like the thing that makes you who you are, your skill set. So, I mean, I know I talked y'all ear off, man, but I had to elaborate on this because I knew I was going to get some slack, man, but I want to dig off into that video, man. I don't want y'all to think I'm picking on the man either, man, but I don't know. Maybe I even won't, man, because 78 already body blood, man. I don't know. It's just maybe this video that I just did will give my explanation on how people need to adjust their debates to factor in the rest of the stuff that's missing. And let's keep it boxing, man. If we stick more inside this ring than into the folklore stuff, we can learn to appreciate what we're seeing now and learn from the past simultaneously. So, all right, man, OCT, I'm out, man. Talk y'all ear off and shit. Thanks to Brother Reef for having me open my mouth. I wanted to get pinpointed with your video a little bit more, man, but I just been oozing to get this info out there, man, so I kind of trickled off too long. So I'm not trying to hit you with a long-ass video to try to debunk you or nothing like that, brother. Actually, you made a lot of great points that I agree with. And much peace, man. I hope we get to do something else like this, man. I'm pretty sure somebody gonna try to bite my head off, and I'll be back. I'll be back.